Hello everybody, my name is Connor and welcome back to Noblasta TCG, where I post my games, learn from my misplays, and count on you guys to tell me why I suck and how do I get good. Today we are playing Eustass Kid into Sanji. Of course, you guys know I love the Sanji deck. I love Sanji, but my opponent is a much better Sanji player than I am. I actually did just reach out to him to see if he wanted to talk about his deck specifically on the channel, because he is just a very, very good Sanji player. And guys, buckle up. This game is a long one, and it's a really, really good one. I feel like I hate to toot my own horn, because, I try and be humble, but I feel like I played really well, and that's very exciting to me. But before we get too deep into this game, I do want to remind you guys that if you want to support the channel, you can head to 1000noble.com to grab or commission a playmat. Another way to support the channel is the YouTube memberships, and the newest way to support the channel is actually heading to Dueling Guard, picking up a deck box, playmat, TCG binder, using my code, using my link in the description below should be CloverCrew. But let's hop into this game. One Don is going to get him the Let's Crash This Wedding event, searching the top 5 for a Straw Hat. I had to think about that. A Straw Hat type card. He is going to show us that Boof Burst. Pretty good card there, passing the turn. We end up getting the Hawkins, which is really nice. We definitely want Hawkins. He's such a good early game piece, and part of the reason I kept this hand was because we did have that Luffy Searcher. Now, we do have a couple of Supernova options, and we do also have Kuma in our hand, which is really nice. I am going to take that 8 cost Kid. I think in this match, 8 cost Kid is pretty good. We have the healing option with Kuma, but Kid is going to be able to burn my opponent's life, which may put a event in trash, but it's an event he will not gain access to. So I think overall, pretty solid choice for us. We do go ahead and use the 1 Dawn for the Scratchman Apu blocker and pass turn. 3 Dawn for my opponent, and he's going to go ahead and just play the Sanji. Definitely that card is very sticky. It is hard to get that card off the field, even though I do have the Zeus in my hand. It just does not feel like he's going to let that go pretty easily. Granted, I could use Zeus to potentially pop him, but not sure if that's the play. Boof Burst coming down to draw my opponent some Dawn, and he is going to go ahead and swing at 5, ramping that Dawn back. The only counter we really had in our hand that we felt like we could give up was Hawkins, and I think in this matchup, I think I want Hawkins to force him to, either to trash a life or use a Boof Burst to bounce it back to my hand. So we end up swinging 5, and he gives us 1 with the Reiju. I think a decent sign for us, but we are going to go ahead, play 1 for the Hawkins, making Hawkins a blocker, and getting a Hawkins in our life, dude. We are Hawkins out of our minds right now. Going to 5 Dawn for the Sanji. Gonna see what he could do. Hopefully, he only has 2 events in trash, so that Sanji, even though he's just sitting there chilling, is just a 5k. Gonna end up playing the Reiju, which is still just a 4 for 5 blocker at this point. Reiju needs 4 events in trash, and we can see he only has 2. There is a chance he can get to 4 events this turn, depending on how what he has in his hand and how he wants to do that. But looks like a Sanji ability is going to come down, potentially. Thinking about that, gonna end up tapping 1 to play Pudding, trying to find an event. Pretty good sign for us that he is only 2 events in trash and is searching for more events. Ends up grabbing the Conqueror, which is almost like another Gum Gum Giant. Definitely really good. Allows him to draw a card on his turn, or allows him to go up to +4 on the counter. So looks like he's going to go ahead and leader ability minus Dawn to Boof Burst the Basil Hawkins back to our hand. Kind of annoying there, but overall I think a pretty solid choice. And then here he swings 5, and I'm thinking he's not going to swing anymore, but I do end up countering. I think that might have been a mistake, because there is a chance that he wouldn't swing anymore. And then we have a life face up. But we are going into our 6 Dawn turn. You know what? That makes sense. So passing turn to us, 6 Dawn, we are going to be able to heal with our Kuma. So not too shabby. Thinking actually about playing the Zeus, I think this is actually a much better play. We're going to play Zeus to pop the Reiju. She currently doesn't have that plus to cost and that plus to powers, with only 3 events in trash, so this is the time to clear that Reiju. Really unfortunate for my opponent. Sanji's want that Reiju on board. We want that big blocker to hide behind. So this was really the only turn that we were going to be able to do that, but we go ahead and poke 5, getting a hit there, and we're going to go ahead tap 4 for the Basil Hawkins, getting another Basil Hawkins in life. I mean, what the heck is my deck doing? Definitely insane there. I know my opponent and I were laughing about it, just honestly stacking my life apparently like crazy. There are definitely worse things to have in life than multiple Basil Hawkins, but with the Hawkins as a blocker, and honestly Hawkins in our life going to be able to let us cycle, we do have the Kuma for next turn as well. He is going to tap 3 to play down the Sanji, establishing that another body that is going to get big, honestly. I feel like with Sanji, if your opening hand is tough, you just kind of have to find the right card, and then once you find that card, you can dump like 3 events in trash in one turn and get back on track. So my opponent kind of struggling to get to that point, but using Conquisare to draw a card. Looks like he's thinking about swinging. I definitely feel like having the Basil Hawkins on the field is a really good deterrent for especially 4-life leaders to swing. Not getting that card to your hand can really hurt, especially with Sanji. If he's having a rough start and that card is something like a Boof Burst or something that he needs, it's going to be pretty rough. So swinging 7 here, and I'm thinking about countering out. I do have a good amount of counter, and we do go ahead and give him the 2k, 1k. Because we are going to be able to heal with the Kuma next turn, so I don't need to take the life, or we can heal with the Law. That is also an option, but one thing I did run into with my deck during this tournament is not having the Supernova's characters in my hand to heal with. Thankfully, we do have an 8-cost Kid in our hand, so it is an option, but we also could play down the Kuma and leave a couple up for the, what is it called, the Red Hawk as a counter. Gonna go ahead and just poke 5 with the Hawk and see what he wants to do there. And we do get a 2k out of hand with that, which is honestly pretty solid here. So torn between what I want to do. I'm feeling like we're in a pretty good spot. We could play the Kuma, we could play the Law. I'm gonna go ahead and poke 6. I might be playing Law, or I think I might be playing Kuma here. We are going to get a Conquisare out of hand with the 6k swing. Law, definitely an option, but I think I am going to go with the Kuma to leave the Dawn up. We'll go ahead and trash the Kiku. I love Kiku, but one of the things I've noticed, especially about this deck, is if you have a, Kiku Nojo and Kuma on field, they are just getting swung over. Your opponent is ignoring them. Honestly, that makes me want to play Purple Yellow Croc so I can Okama away and force them to kill and heal me, but Purple Yellow Croc, not in a great spot right now. Potentially, could be. Maybe I should build it, but I don't know. I'm definitely in a I don't know what to play type of mood, and there's just a lot of decks I want to play, but my opponent tapping the 1 Dawn to play Luffy will be the king of the pirates, or Luffy is the man who will be king of the pirates. You guys know the event. Gonna grab a mysterious card and put it to his hand. I think it's really interesting that event you don't have to reveal. I really like that. It's nice to deny my opponent some information, but Reiju blocker coming down again. A beautiful alt-art Reiju blocker. I love the alts in that deck, and she has the pluses to her cost and her power. 7k for a 9 cost 7k. Ooh, could you imagine if she was 9,000? That would be insane. So, yep, putting that +2 to power on his dice there. Very, very good at using dice to indicate the power. Shout out to my opponent for doing that. 7 at lead. This definitely, I feel like, could be a block. We also could just take. We have 2 face-up life. And yeah, torn between blocking or potentially just taking the life. I will go ahead and take, assuming he's going to swing a 6 here. We could let it looks like we are going to block with the Hawkins and trash his top life. Trashing the Luffy will be King of the Pirates. Pretty solid there. Another 6 coming through, and I'm thinking at this point, I think we're fine to take, but am I going to Red Hawk that? That seems... No, yeah, okay. I do go ahead and take. I'm going to trigger to draw 2 and trash 1. Honestly, might trash the Red Hawk here. I'm thinking that is our best choice. Red Hawk at this point in the game doesn't do much. I trashed the Law. Huh. Interesting. We do get our 1 of Rush Ace. I think that's going to be a really good finisher if we need it. And I feel like in this deck, there is a chance we could need it. I feel like Sanji has just, if he sees what he needs, a lot of sustain. So 8 coming down for the burn on the life there. Gonna get him down to 1. Trashing the Chopper, which I think is actually... I was talking to him about that card, and he said he didn't have any Carnes, but he was running that. And honestly, I think that's a pretty good card. So I really like it on the Sanji list. As I said earlier, his list is really cool. Kind of want him to come on the channel and talk about it, but we'll see. 7k into Reiju, just trying to get some cards out of hand. He does have 2 Dawn up, and I do know that the Conquisere event only protects the leader. It's only counter for leader, so pretty nice to know. We are going to get the 0 cost and the Brochette Blow out of life there, out of hand, and then we are going to go ahead, play the Capone blocker, make Eustass Kid a 9k blocker, and pass turn. So 3 blockers on the field. My big freaking head is in the way. I think I am just reading Capone, making sure my opponent knows what he does. I always like to make sure my opponents know what my cards do, because Kid effect gonna cycle at the end of that turn, trashing a Red Hawk. As I said, doesn't do too much there, but at this point in the game, it is a 3000 counter. So yeah, making sure my opponent understands and knows what Capone can do. Of course, I would love him to try and remove a Supernova card and put it at the top of my life, but Capone, unfortunately, unable to protect himself like that. Understandable, I think the card would be way too good, but yeah, ideally my opponent won't have a, a Jet Cauldron or anything of that sort. But gonna go play a Let's Crash This Wedding, looking at the top 5 for a card he wants. His Sanjis are now 7Ks at this point, which is honestly really scary. Yeah, I mean, those are big bodies. 7k, that's 2 cards out of hand to counter. Thankfully, we do have a decent amount of blockers, but still. Looks like he's going to go ahead and grab another. Luffy is the man who will be Pirate King or King of the Pirates. Ideally, I will have put an image so you guys know the correct title. He's going to go ahead, play that, look at the top 3, and grab one of those cards. Yeah, honestly, I really like that card as far as searchers. Lets you grab anything. And yeah, I mean, it's only top 3, but the amount of times I bottom deck my Reijus on pudding, such a bummer. But gonna grab a card there, of course, as I mentioned, doesn't have to reveal it to us, which is a bit of a bummer, but buffing those Sanjis up to 7k bodies. 7k bodies that are hard to remove. The only real way to remove them is by swinging into them. And gonna go ahead, tap 6 to play out that Sanji blocker. Definitely something that I don't do enough with my Sanji deck, I think. I think that playing out that Sanji blocker for 6 is understandable, honestly. Gonna swing 5, and we will give him the block with the Scratchman. Swinging 7, I'm gonna block with the Eustass Kid. the 9k body, and another 7. I'm thinking about taking this one. I would have to give him a 2k, 1k. Of course, I could block with the Capone. But, oh, swings actually 7 into Kuma, and I give him the 2k there. I think that makes sense. I do, as much as I like healing, I think that I want to keep my Kuma on the board. It is nice that Kuma will heal me when he gets KO'd, but yeah, I want to keep Kuma on the board. And here I have the option of, I could do 10 costs Ace and just get that body on board, or we could play the Kuma, and we are going to go ahead and search with our Luffy, thinking about taking the 8 cost Kid. Another 8 cost Kid I feel would be pretty great, burning the life. Of course, Slam Gibson is a solid way for me to remove that Reiju. Slam Gibson, if you don't know what it does, ideally, I'll remember to put a picture here. Really torn between the 8 cost Kid and the Slam Gibson. Think I'm going to take the Slam Gibson. Yeah, I think that is okay. Definitely going to try and use it on the Reiju to remove that body off the board. And I think our best choice of healing here is Kuma. It's crazy how different these games are when you see a Kuma. But I'm going to go ahead and swing 7. I'm swinging 7 into Sanji. He's got 1 card in hand. I would really like to clear those Sanjis. They are getting big. They are big and they're only getting bigger. So, of course, he could block here, but he is going to let one of the Sanjis go. And that to me is like, okay, if he let the 7-7 go, I think I just need to continually pressure the other Sanji. This might be the only opportunity I really have to remove that Sanji. So, thinking about playing the Kuma down right now, but I think at this point, my best bet would be just to swing into Sanji. And yeah, we'll go 9 into the 7k Sanji. Once again, trying to get a card out of hand, maybe even a blocker. We are going to go ahead and get the blocker Sanji with that swing. And going to go swing the other 7, just leaving a Don up. We do have, I believe, Red Hawk and Slam Gibson. So the 7k, I think 7 probably puts him in a pretty awkward spot if he has... I mean, he could have an event like Conquisere, which only works on lead, and it feels bad to block a 7 and let a Reiju go, so he is going to let his Sanji go. I'm going to go ahead and trash the Red Hawk, healing with Kuma, and then end of turn, I'm going to re-stand the Eustass Kid, make him a blocker, flip our life over, and let's see if I remember Kid ability. Kid ability is something I actually do forget quite a bit. And it looks like I do forget it here, which is not great. I'll see what we draw into next turn. But one more Let's Crash This Wedding coming down from my opponent. He is crashing so many weddings here. Looking for, I would assume, another Sanji. I feel like my opponent has gotten a little unlucky with what he is pulling, but he's going to get the Boof Burst. I think that's his 3rd Boof Burst. Of course, he was able to draw off of the first one, but with the second one, he did have to bounce my Basil Hawkins back to hand with it. So using the leader ability to draw with the Boof Burst, thinking about how much he wants to swing. Of course, even with the Boof Burst, he is pretty low on hand size. And when you see your opponent pick up that much Dawn, it is a scary moment. So looks like he might be swinging pretty big here. Thankfully, we do have a good amount of protection going on. Swinging into, let's see, I assume he's going to be swinging into the, what is his name, Kuma, and we are going to go ahead and give him the Capone. I was kind of expecting him to swing with another body, which is why I blocked with Capone instead of getting the potential free block with the Kid. And yeah, a little bit of a misplay, I think, there, but overall, I think it worked out for us. So I have another Kuma in my hand. Dude, what a menace I am. I will never see this many Kumas ever again. But, okay, so we did draw into Scratchman Apu. I think I would have probably trashed, I feel like Ace. I think, yeah, because I want to... Here, okay, here I think I do a little bit of a misplay, but I am going to tap the 6 Dawn for Slam Gibson. It puts a 9 cost or less in my opponent's life face down, so I am going to put Reiju in my opponent's life, just so I can kind of have a couple of free swings at my opponent. And yeah, I think that that's the play. Gonna put 7 Dawn on my leader, starting with lead. I could have started, probably should have started with Kuma as well, just in case. I don't think there's any event that could really get rid of Kuma, but so we swing 7 and he takes, and here I know he has a Reiju, so this was risky. Like, I think I should have stopped swinging there, because he could just get the Reiju back and then play it back next turn, and I'm kind of in the same spot. And here's the moment where I'm like, I probably shouldn't have swung this. He's probably going to end up taking it and get that Reiju back. If I was able to... I feel like if I... Yeah, because if I didn't swing, I could have gotten Kid next turn and then burned the life for Reiju. And yeah, he is going to go ahead and take his Reiju. I'm going to go ahead and swing 9 actually with the Kid, kind of going aggressively for it and getting the Gum Gum Giant out of hand, which is good. I think we're in a really solid position. We are going to see him trash his Beer Luffy, not really giving him an opportunity to play that Beer Luffy down, which is great because that would be really hard for me to remove. I would have to get Slam Gibson, and I only run 2 in this list. I will be doing a deck profile soon, just because this list is kind of jank, but it worked for me. I think the list should be in the description for you guys too, if you want to look at it. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't feel terrible, which a lot of my decks lately have just been feeling terrible, which is a bummer. But making sure my opponent can see what the cards that are face up can do. No need to hide that. It's free knowledge at this point. He is going to go ahead, swing 5, and get that rested Dawn. Of course, he was down 1 Dawn because of the Gum Gum Giant. And I'm going to go ahead and give him 1. I did forget to Kid ability again. Oh my god. I swear I'm much better at Kid ability. I don't know what's going on here. I think I'm just having a blonde moment. I don't know. Yeah, roast me in the comments, guys. Yeah, I'm usually a lot better at that. But he's going to play the Pudding, searching the top 4 for an event or a Sanji. Gotta check his hand to see what he has. Gotta check his trash to see what characters he has. Very interesting. We know he has 2 Reijus in trash, I think. At least 1 Reiju in trash. Nothing in my hand but Ace. I feel like Ace is actually a pretty good body to have in my hand as well. He is going to take a blocker Luffy. I think Ace here, if my opponent swings and gets me down to 1 life, Ace could be a really good way to close out this game. And I don't think it's really something that people expect from a Kid deck. And there is that Reiju that we just gave them back. So as I mentioned, if we did not swing that Kuma, I think we'd be in a lot better position. We're not in a terrible position, of course, but off a lot stronger position if they didn't have the ability to play out that Reiju. But gonna see what they do here. Of course, just playing the Reiju and passing turn. So no way we can finish this game with the Ace here, which is kind of a bummer. But we are gonna draw into Capone. So looking at my Dawn, gonna see what I can do. There is a moment where I am thinking maybe I swing the Ace, or maybe I play the Ace just to heal, but I decide not to. We're gonna swing 9 with Kuma, just making sure to use our bodies. Make sure we go to 9. And there is 1 Gum Gum Giant trashing a Pudding there, going another 9. We do have a 9 with our what is his name? Eustass Kid. Getting another Gum Gum Giant out of hand. 2 Giants in 1 turn. Pretty crazy, but that is not just a Straw Hat deck. That is a Sanji deck right there. Giving us that 2k to trash there. That kind of cued me into, okay, like, I think we have a pretty solid option here. So we are going to go 9-9. 10 with Eustass Kid and go 10 with our other kid as well. 9, 9, 10, 10. Feeling pretty good. Of course, 2 Dawn up. He is going to go ahead and thinking about blocking that hit. And I think even if we can't finish game this turn, I think we're in a really solid position. I don't think he's going to be able to kill us next turn. I don't think he has enough Dawn or bodies, unfortunately, for my opponent. And we have 3 life. Seeing the Kumas that we did, incredibly helpful. With this deck, I just feel like I think we have technically 8 ways to heal. 10 if you count the 2 Kikus. Just being able to heal, very useful. And we are going to go 1 more 10 with Kid, and there is a 3rd Gum Gum Giant. Well, I know he said he was really hoping to hold on to that Sanji. And yeah, we were able to sneak it out, not getting the counter he needed there. But yeah, really great game by my opponent. As I said, I think my opponent kind of low rolled, and that's kind of how I feel Sanji does sometimes, unfortunately. But my opponent, a very good Sanji player for sure, and me, a very lucky Kid player. But that is gonna do for me, guys. Next round, tomorrow's video is the finals of this tournament. It is a freaking weird one, so make sure you guys tune in tomorrow for that. But that's gonna do it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked this video, hit that like button down below. It helps me out more than you could ever know. Go ahead and subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.
Sanji と申します。すぐに片付けますのでご安心を。おらー、これじゃあキリがねえ。麦わら